I'm basically from Kerala. I did my schooling and pre-degree, that is equivalent to the intermediate in Kerala. And I joined IIT in 1966. So to be frank, I came to know that there is something called Indian Institute of Technology just 4 or 5 months before the entrance exam, when I saw one of my classmates applying for IIT entrance exam. No coaching, I just got a guide giving the previous year question paper. Some 5 of us from that college went and appeared at the entrance exam. And I was lucky to have got through with a very good rank. An interesting event at that time is I did so badly in the first IIT entrance exam paper, mathematics, that I almost gave up the exam, rest of the exam. But somehow watching a movie that evening with my friend prompted me to stay back for one more day and get the rest of the exam. But I did very well in the subsequent exam. With the result, when I came for the interview, those days we used to have the interview or counseling, what we call now, where you choose the branch. I chose mechanical engineering. And Professor Sengupta, who was the first director at that time, he was the one who interviewed me. And he said, Mr. Venugopalan, you have done so badly in mathematics. How do you become a good engineer? I couldn't only smile and say, I hope I learned something here, sir. And I can tell you that, yes, I put a lot of effort to make up for that. And really didn't come up later in my career as a topper. So this was the entry into IIT Madras. My name was Venugopalan, and I don't remember having any specific nickname. Everybody used to call me Venu. That's all. And I joined for my BTech at 66 to 71. I passed out. Subsequently, I came for my MS by external registration. Did it during 75, 79. Later, I joined even for the PhD, but never completed it. So that is my academic career at IIT Madras. During the IIT life, I remember our first hostel was Jamuna, 344 Jamuna. Still, whenever I come to IIT Madras for our alumni meet, we make it a point to go back to the hostel and I visit that room again. So the couple of experiences I had in IIT Madras was the very first experience is the very first session which we all mechanical engineers went through was in the fitting shop, in workshop, filing away for if I remember something like 8 weeks or even 16 weeks, half a semester, or those years was full year. And I remember my instructor, all of us mechanical engineers of that batch, remember Mr. Apau, who used to insist that we don't file, but we file. And Dr. Ebert, who was in charge of the workshop, was very, very tough on us. If we make one mistake, we'll have to repeat the exercise till we become perfect. The second teacher, I remember another horror story was the drawing, mechanical engineering drawing done by Professor Shelagowski, again a German, who insisted on the German professionalism and perfection. If you make one arrow of a drawing, the proportion not out, he will take the scriber and cut it into 4 pieces you are drawing and ask you to redo again. So the basic German discipline of make whatever you do, make it perfect. It doesn't matter how much you do, but whatever you do, make it perfect. That got ingrained into most of us. That was a couple of experiences. As far as my favorite spots in IIT is concerned, of course, one was knick-knack, where we very, very occasionally used to afford a treat given by somebody or you treating somebody for something good. And also the other one I remember is the Velacheri Thatched Roof Theatre. Go for late night Tamil movies. That was the other spots I remember in IIT Madras. And I was lucky to get a merit scholarship 3 out of the 5 years. That is top 5% used to get those days. And other 2 years, I took it easy as usual. And I picked up my hobby there in the 4th year, which is the game of bridge. That I picked up and it continued right through my life. And even today, I spend a lot of time on that. Later, I of course came for my, and some of my favorite things. And now I think now I finished with that, my IIT life. If you have anything more to ask, you can ask me anything more to think. Okay, of course, I'll add one more thing. The campus selection at the end of the 5 years, I was selected by DRDO during the campus selection. I had taken combustion for my project work under Professor M.C. Gupta, and I had done the project work. So the person who came for interview from DRDO, Air Commodore Gopalaswamy, my first boss in DRDO, he asked me a couple of questions in combustion. I could answer it easily. And that probably those 2 questions paved the way for my entry into DRDO. At the same time, I was selected by ISRO. I had gone to VSSC for an interview, and I was selected as an engineer there also. And I chose DRDO over VSSC because the difference in salary between VSSC was giving 540 rupees and DRDL at Hyderabad was giving me 610 rupees. For that 70 rupees difference, I came all the way to Hyderabad. That is how I joined DRDO. That completes that phase of my life at IIT. After being selected by the campus selection, I joined DRDL, Defense Research and Development Laboratory, which is the main development agency for development of guided missiles in DRDO. DRDO itself has got something like more than 50 laboratories. One of them is DRDL Hyderabad. I joined that organization. And I joined because of my combustion project and thermal sciences background, elective subjects. I joined the propulsion group and joined the liquid rocket engine development group. I had a few interesting experiences there. The very first task given by my boss to me was checking the design calculation of a large liquid rocket engine, which DRDL had just started the project. So the design was going on. So he just asked me to check the design calculations. I was going through the heat transfer process in that engine, cooled engine. I was taken back to my textbook at IIT Madras, heat transfer by Kreitz, an American book, taught to us by Professor Krishna Shastri and later Professor Sita Ramu. They had taught us heat transfer. Even Professor Ramchandran, who was then director IIT Madras, he also took some classes for us later. So my heat transfer fundamentals were good, I would say, with those teachers. And I found some mistake in the calculations done at DRDL. I could correct it. And this was my first experience of transferring IIT gained in knowledge to an actual development job. And I'm proud to say I never looked back after that. I did very well in the liquid propulsion development projects of DRDO. I was basically the project manager and in charge of the main designer for the liquid propulsion systems of Prithvi and Agni missiles, first time Agni missiles. And later also, many of the liquid propulsion systems also I had participated. So this was my career in IIT, the first part of it. It was during 1982 that Dr. Kalam joined us as the director. I was very fortunate to work under him for the next more than 25 years. And till he passed away, we were in constant touch. He was a guiding spirit for all of us. And it was he who took me to the next step in my career, which was as the first project director of the BrahMos Supersonic cruise missile project, which was an initiative between DRDO, a joint venture project, a joint design and development project between DRDO in India and a company in Russia, NPO Machina. These two partnered together to produce this missile, which is today a very successful missile. So I was the project director during the initial phase until the completion of the project, till the missile was installed in a number of ships, and a land-based system was also developed. So I had a lot of interaction with my Russian friends or counterparts in Russia. I learned a lot from them, the way the Russians work, their discipline, the exact method of analysis, mathematical modeling skills, and many things I learned from them. In fact, not only me, my entire team of DRDO learned many things which we could subsequently implement in our other programs. So this was my part. After I completed a good amount of development of the missile continued for various platforms and launch platforms. It continued. Even today it is going on and getting better and better. So now the next part of my career was, with that successes, probably they found me capable of becoming the director of the DRDL, the very first lab I joined. I was fortunate enough to sit in the same chair that Dr. Kalam occupied. So proud I am. And I did that job well for about 6.5 years. I got 2 extensions also, and finally I retired in 2012. But even after retirement, I continued as a review member in many ways, solving problems in my own areas of expertise. And so what I essentially learned from IIT, which had made me a reasonably good engineer, was that what IIT taught me, the basic problem solving capabilities, being on your own, analytical skills, mathematical modeling, and most important, in this area of rocket missile design and missile development, we face a large number of problems right from the word go. So facing a problem, identifying the causes, problem analysis, finding a solution, that was my core strength. That's why even today when DRDO has any problem, they call me, and I sit with them and try to solve as many of those problems as possible. So I'm with them even now. As far as my interaction with IIT Madras is concerned, it continued right from 1970s. We had I continued my interaction with the combustion lab with my own MS guide, Professor Sriramlu, Dr. Natarajan, who was the later IIT director. A number of projects we had given to the combustion lab and to IIT Madras when he was the head of the combustion lab, as well as later the director of IIT Madras. And subsequently, also a number of projects, the combustion center, and many of the other projects I have been interacting with the IIT Madras. Even today, I meet many of my IIT faculty during design reviews and everything. So I have a very close interaction with the mechanical engineering department, especially of IIT Madras. And the interdisciplinary thing, which IIT taught me, like Professor Venugopalan of electrical engineering department, one of the best lectures we got during the BTech days was from him in electrical engineering. That was on distribution losses in electricity distribution in any state. We didn't even realize the lunch break has come, and that lecture continued for almost 2 hours. So there were IIT syllabus at those days had a lot of interdisciplinary topics, that concept, and that helped me later to become a project director, where interdisciplinary work was very important. Just your own specialization is not sufficient. You must be a jack of all trades. So that completes my career in DRDO, and I'm just continuing.